Where are they? I think they're talking about us. No way. Come on, Lewis, let's go.
Welcome, fellow Kiss fans. Welcome to It's All for You Demons, celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan. And tonight we are celebrating the nerd fun of being a Kiss fan. Pretty much everything we do in this basement is nerd fun, but tonight it gets really nerdy because it takes me back to being a child. 1980, I was obsessed with the Empire Strikes Back trading cards. And I remember those trading cards came with a checklist, and I was obsessed with that checklist. I wanted to get every single card. So many trips to Ben Franklin, checklist was complete. That is what we are doing tonight, but it's a little harder as an adult because A, we're not really sure what should actually be on the checklist, and B, there is no Ben Franklin that sells this glory, and it is the 1978 Boutwell solo album Kiss Army Kit that was sent to the Kiss Army kids of 1978. We are piecing it together. The end of 2022, goal of 2023 is going to be Army Kits, and it is checklist nerd fun. Let's get into it. Before we get into the nerd fun of the Army Kit, I want to give a huge thank you, bless you, to Kiss My Collectibles. They did an Army Kit special, and all of the knowledge I have of the Army Kits basically came from that episode. The thing with these Army Kits is they're difficult to understand exactly what goes in them, as a lot of times these were just hodgepodge concoctions of what was in the warehouse at the time. Like Dan down the street could get his Army Kit, pretty much have the same things mine has, but in 1978 some things could have been different just depending upon what's sitting around the warehouse at the time. So this is difficult, which makes it fun, which makes it nerdy, and it also makes it checklist glory. And I also want to give a thank you to my brother from another mother, Scotty, FL Dog 71, who has joined me on this Army Kit checklist fun. And the other night, we had a grand time texting, emailing, sending checklist. What do you have? What do I have? What do you need? What do I need? And that is the glory of this whole thing, the fun of being a Kiss fan. Now let's take a look at the 1978 Kiss Army Kit solo albums. Now here is the checklist based upon the Kiss My Collectibles episode. These are the items 1 through 11 that they held up from their solo album kit folder. Now the oddities at the bottom are things that myself or Scotty have talked about that they did not mention, but are in our kits that we have questions about, that I will bring those up at the end. So let's first start with number 1 and check out what the solo album Army Kit should have contained. First up, number 1 is the Army Kit folder itself with this cool like Kiss Army drawing kind of bursting out of the flames there. I love anytime the band uses those stars. They use them on the Halloween costume boxes. Always love those. And the cool thing about the folder is there are 3 variations of the folder. There is one with the Boutwell logo with the address underneath, and then there is one with the Boutwell logo without the address, and then there is one that is blank on the back. I do not have the blank one, but I was able to cross off address, no address. Now number 2 on our checklist is the membership card. Sergeant Baker membership card, which I do not have, but it has the same design as the folder, only there's a white border at the top and a white border at the bottom. Number 3 on the checklist that I do not have as well is the silver logo patch, and I do not have that. That's gonna have to be an addition I'm gonna hunt down for. We're starting off this checklist pretty rough, but we get into some good stuff here. So, silver logo patch, I do not have. Number 4 on the checklist is the Kiss Army iron-on, and I do have that. Just a Kiss Army logo, iron-on, white paper. Has the instructions on the back, only cotton fabric, and a youngster out there could have a Kiss Army t-shirt. That's pretty fun. Number 5 on the list is the tent cards that are not complete because these each came with like a signature piece on the side that you would tear off and place on the bottom of the card. I don't have the signatures, but the fun thing is I do have a little history with this. In like 1992, Dan gave me this Paul Stanley tent card, and back then we had no freaking clue that this came from an Army kit. I think it was something his brother-in-law picked up that ended up at Dan's, and a lot of Dan's stuff ended up at my house for Taco Bell or otherwise. I love you, Dan. And we had no idea the history that we were holding. We were actually holding, teenage kids actually holding a Kiss Army kit piece, and had no idea. I love that Gene photo. That green behind him, that vampire cape. So Phantom of the Park, so much fun. Those tent cards, my goodness. They're just the coolest pictures ever. I say out of the 4, Ace is probably my favorite. I love the Peter with the leopard. I love the Gene. Paul would be my last of these 4, but I love these things. And I, of course, need to find them with the autographs, but I will take them any way I can get them. Number 6 is the wallet card set, and this is kind of fun, just history-wise. I have some kid's wallet card set that he obviously cut up and lost over the years, but I still have his remaining Peter Criss wallet card, the wallet size photos picture that's in the middle of all the wallet size photos, and the group shot. The only 2 cards I have out of the wallet size photos, I need to get those. They of course came on a piece of cardboard, and you cut them out, ripped them off, placed them in your wallet as a card-carrying member of the Kiss Army in 1978. I wonder what happened to this fan's wallet card set. They probably ended up in a locker, on a wall, in a trash can, in a vacuum. 1978. Now number 7 was something that John 5 had that no one else had, and I doubt that this even exists in the world because, you know, John 5 finds stuff. It's that out of reach. He had a really cool like flyer that said recruit 3 friends to the Kiss Army and you win a prize. Number 8 on the checklist again, we've hit a rough patch. Once again, number 8 is newsletter, volume 3, issue 1. I do not have. Number 9 on the checklist, the discography newsletter, which mine's pretty fun again because the owner of this Army kit had checked off the Kiss albums that I assume they owned. And they didn't have any singles, but they had Alive, Destroyer. Looks like they were missing Double Platinum, but they had a nice little catalog going. And obviously loved the band enough to join the Kiss Army. 1978, receive this Army kit. Inside again, more about each album, track listing for every album, catalog numbers. Pretty cool little discography to have. Keep your checklist for all your albums. And then on the back, of course, the mighty solo albums, which would have been so much fun. 1978. You talk about the fun of being a Kiss fan. That's it right there. Number 10 on the checklist is the solo album newsletter. Has classified information only for Army kit members. Paul Stanley's birth date, autograph, a discussion of what his album is about. Same with Ace, same with Peter with that 3, love that. And Gene, my favorite solo album of the bunch. Just celebrated a birthday last week. Man, having this arrive in the mail, if you were 8 years old, 1978, would have been the shit.
That's right, she actually stops and says shit.
And then number 11 on the checklist are the 8x10s. These are so absolutely cool. Such cool pictures. I don't know how these did not end up on some kid's wall, destroyed. I mean, these are beautiful. That Gene one is so evil, so creepy, so cool. The Peter with that green behind his head, Ace with the blue and silver. That is such a cool picture of Ace and Paul in his, lover's stance as is. Those are absolute beauties. Talk about gorgeous. Those are the creme de la creme of this army kit. I don't even know if I said that correctly, but who cares. And lastly was a 8x10 of the group taking a bow. That Love Gun Alive 2 stage. Such cool stuff. I mean, as a 48-year-old man, I'm smiling from ear to ear putting these things together. I can't even imagine how cool it was for a kid to get this big ass folder in the mail and open it up and just be in heaven. It's pretty much how we feel opening up a Kiss box set when they come in the mail. So I do know the feeling, but back then as a kid it would have been Wonderland. And before we get to the oddities, let's take a look at the inside of the notebook. A little letter from Sergeant Baker, who we all know is Peggy Tamarkin, author of Kiss, the Real Story, and a perfect angel at putting that childhood magic into the way she writes. Everything she writes reads like something you would get at the Scholastic Book Fair when you were a little kid, and it's that magic mixed with Kiss magic that just make for wonderful reading. Now, one cool thing about the inside of this book is this PS. P.S. If you're one of the lucky members with a special gold seal on the front of your Army membership kit, congratulations. Thank you for joining up for another fantastic year in the Kiss Army. Doesn't say you win anything, but it's cool to think that some of these went out with a gold seal, I assume, on the side there. That would be cool to find. But then this, presenting the debut releases, the solo albums. I wonder how many kids took these notebooks to school and used this as a folder. The temptation would be too great. I think I would have to. Knowing my childhood self, I would love to pull this folder out of my desk and be like, yeah, I'll work on my math. And you got this awesome Kiss folder that you could just sit there and trace the solo album faces. But then also the nerd. I was a childhood nerd too. The nerd inside of me would want to keep everything intact and precious. But you gotta admit, these things are absolutely magical, glorious, and fun. Now to the oddities, and this is where I'm gonna need your help. So if you have any answers for me, Scotty, anybody else wanting to put together an army kit, please leave your comments below. Oddity number one is this band tent card, which this is the classic lunchbox photo, but it's a tent card, same on the front, same on the back, nothing in the middle. It's a tent card. I assume this originally probably came in the Love Gun kit, but was in my solo album kit. However, the Kiss My Collectibles guys did not mention this in their solo album kit, so I'm calling it an oddity, but I am keeping it in my solo album kit because it came in mine from the boy I bought this from. My gosh, that is just childhood magic right there. I remember first grade, 1981, seeing a girl in Miss Harmson's class had the Kiss lunchbox, and I just remember staring at that. And that logo drew me in. Very cool to imagine that, geez Louise, 41 years later, I'm still staring at that with the same smile on my face and loving this stuff all the more. Next oddity piece is Dean Johnson's certificate. Now, Kiss My Collectibles, again, did not show this certificate, but I bought most of this Army Kit stuff from Dean Johnson, and this was in his Army Kit. So I'm assuming this is a piece of the 78 solo album kit. Might be the Love Gun kit, but Dean Johnson, if you're out there, God bless you, my friend. And lastly on my oddity list is this, and this is what the wallet size photos look like. That mine are torn up, but these are like stamps, and they're just little perforated stamps, kind of have an odd back, makes it feel like a stamp sheet. But what are these from? I assume they would be this press kit, given that Kiss Army cover and the cover of the folder, and also the pictures that are the 8x10s, but Kiss My Collectible guys did not show this, and I have no idea what this is. Thus, it is an oddity, but included in my 1978 solo album, Army Kit. And my last oddity is this, and I know it has nothing to do with the Army Kit at all, but I've had this forever and I do not know what these are. It is a postcard from Kiss to a said Kiss Army member who had sent in questions, and what it is it's basically saying, we get too many questions, we're not going to answer them. Here is a little fact sheet about the band. I love this thing. I just don't know what it is. Obviously it was a mailer and never put in an Army Kit. This was actually probably just sent to kids who wrote in to the Kiss Army warehouse, but fun nonetheless. Cool to have. But what a bummer, man. Breaking your heart. You write in asking a question about Gene Simmons and his boots. Do his boots come alive? And they send you back this saying, leave us alone, kid. We don't have time for you. Here are some facts about Gene Simmons. Thank you for hanging with us tonight and waxing a little rock and roll nostalgia about the 1978 solo album Army Kit and how much fun, nerd fun it is to put it together. Be good to your babies, spay, neuter, microchip, get this damn Army Kit folder off of me and let me nap. Take care, be safe. We will talk to you soon.